Hello and welcome to the My School channel. My name is Angela, and in this video we're going to continue the government topic by topic video lesson. So we're moving on to a new unit titled the Day-to-Day Operation and Public Administration. So here we're going to discuss the institution and the elements in government that help in the smooth running of the states. Then we're going to begin with a new topic titled citizenship. So we're going to discuss the definition of citizenship, the rights, duties and obligations of citizens within a particular society. So please stay with us, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the My School channel. Like I said earlier, we're moving on to a new unit and a new topic. So today we're going to be discussing citizenship. So let's dive right into it. Alright, so these are the list of things that we're going to be discussing in this lesson. We're going to define citizenship. We're going to discuss the ways of acquiring citizenship, the qualifications for citizenship, the ways of depriving or losing citizenship, the rights, the duties and obligations of a citizen, the limitation to a citizen's rights, ways in which the citizen's rights can be safeguarded, the difference between a citizen and a non-citizen. Then we're going to discuss a case study of the human rights situation in Nigeria so that we can understand it better and see how we can, understand it better. Then we are also going to discuss various human rights groups both here in Nigeria and internationally. So let's begin with the definition of citizenship. Alright, who is a citizen? A citizen is a recognized member of a state who is entitled to full constitutional and legal rights within the country of residence. So that's the definition of a citizen. It's a member of a state who is entitled to full constitutional rights. Constitutional in the sense that the rights of the citizen is entrenched in the constitution. So these citizens have specific rights and privileges that they enjoy along with responsibilities and obligations that they owe to the states. So they do not only enjoy rights, they also have responsibilities that they have to perform within the states. So these responsibilities, we're also going to discuss them in this lesson. So citizenship refers to the relationship between an individual and a state to which the individual owes allegiance to and in turn is entitled to its protection. So it's a give and take situation within a state. So the citizen is expected to perform certain duties and obligations within the state in exchange for protection and in exchange for certain rights that are accorded to the individuals within that state. So citizenship implies the status of freedom with accompanying responsibilities. Citizens have certain rights, duties, and responsibilities that are denied or only partially extended to aliens and other non-citizens residing in a country. So when we're talking about aliens, we're talking about foreigners who come to reside within the country. They do not enjoy the full rights and responsibility that is accorded to a citizen within that society. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, there are 5 ways by which citizenship can be acquired. It can be acquired by birth, by naturalization, by marriage or registration, through dual citizenship, or through honorary citizenship. So let's begin with citizenship by birth. Alright, citizenship by birth, also known as jus solis or right of the soil, is granted to individuals born within a country's territory, regardless of the nationality of their parents. In most countries of the world, individuals who are born within a particular territory automatically become citizens of that territory, that country, or that state. So this is how citizenship works in most countries of the world. Now let's look at Nigeria as a case study. In Nigeria, citizenship by birth is more aligned with jus sanguinis, also known as right of blood. So this is different from how it works in other countries of the world. So a person is a citizen by birth if either parents or any grandparent belongs to a community indigenous to Nigeria. And we can see this in section 25 of the 1999 Constitution. So in this particular case, you can become a citizen of Nigeria if either of your parents or both of your parents or either of your grandparents is an indigene of any Nigerian society. On the other hand, if you are born in Nigeria but you do not have any parents or grandparents who are born in Nigeria, you are not a citizen of the country. So it is different from the way it works in most other countries of the world. Jus solis is right of the soil. You have to be born in that country in order to qualify for citizenship. But for jus sanguinis, your parents or one of your grandparents have to have been born in that country in order for you to qualify for citizenship. So therefore, citizenship is not determined solely by the location of birth, but also by lineage. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, we have citizenship by marriage or registration. So this allows a foreign spouse of a citizen to acquire citizenship through a simplified process. So in Nigeria, it is a little bit different. In Nigeria, a foreign woman married to a Nigerian man can acquire citizenship by registration after meeting certain residency and integration requirements, such as being of good character, having clear intention to be domiciled in Nigeria, and taking the oath of allegiance. And we can find this in section 26 of the 1999 Constitution. So it is different in the sense that in Nigeria, it is only a foreign woman that is allowed to acquire citizenship by marriage or registration. If you're a Nigerian woman who gets married to a foreigner, to a foreign man, that foreign man cannot acquire citizenship by marriage or registration. It only works when it is a male citizen of Nigeria who is getting married to a female foreigner. So this is how citizenship by marriage or registration works in Nigeria. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, we have citizenship by naturalization. Naturalization is the process by which a foreign national can acquire citizenship after meeting specific residency and other requirements set by the country. So if a person wants to acquire citizenship of a particular country, so you can acquire it through naturalization. So there is a process that is stipulated within the constitution of a country that allows you to acquire citizenship of another country. So here in Nigeria, the person can apply for naturalization if they have lived in the country for a continuous period of at least 15 years and intend to reside in Nigeria permanently. So other requirements include demonstrating good character, showing an understanding of the responsibilities of Nigerian citizenship, and taking an oath of allegiance. You can find all of these requirements stipulated in section 27 of the 1999 Constitution. So in this process, you have to have stayed in Nigeria for at least 15 years and you intend to reside in Nigeria permanently. That's the only way you can acquire citizenship by naturalization. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, you can also acquire dual citizenship. So dual citizenship allows individuals to hold citizenship in more than one country simultaneously. Nigerian law permits dual citizenship for citizens by birth. So this means that Nigerians by birth can acquire citizenship of another country without losing their Nigerian citizenship. However, individuals who are Nigerian citizens by naturalization or registration must renounce their other citizenships to become Nigerian citizens. And we can find all of this in section 28 of the 1999 Constitution. So the difference is that it is only when you are a citizen by birth that you can acquire citizenship from another country. But when it comes to you acquiring citizenship by naturalization, you are not a citizen by birth. You cannot hold the citizenship of another country simultaneously. You only have to hold a Nigerian citizenship in that case. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, we have honorary citizenship. So this is a symbolic form of citizenship granted to individuals who have made significant contributions to a country, often without the full rights and responsibilities of regular citizens. So the president of the country can bestow citizenship onto someone in honor of that person. But Nigeria, like many countries, does not commonly grant honorary citizenship. So this form of citizenship is more ceremonial and typically does not confer the legal rights and obligations associated with full citizenship. So it's mostly ceremonial. You do not have the rights of a citizen and you are not obligated to perform the duties and obligations of a citizen. So it is usually awarded to individuals who have made extraordinary contributions to the country or have a special relationship with it. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, let's discuss the qualifications for citizenship. What are those things that are required in order for you to get citizenship by marriage or registration or citizenship by naturalization? When you're a citizen by birth, you do not have to acquire citizenship because you're automatically a citizen. So one of the qualifications for citizenship is statutory age. So the statutory age requirement ensures that individuals applying for citizenship have reached a certain age of maturity and legal responsibility. So here in Nigeria, the statutory age for applying for citizenship by naturalization or registration is 18 years. So if you are less than 18 years and you're a foreigner, you cannot apply for citizenship in Nigeria. Now let's move on to another qualification. All right, we have good character. So Nigerian law requires applicants for naturalization to demonstrate good character. So this is often assessed through background checks and character references. The applicant must not have a criminal record or be involved in activities that could undermine the integrity and security of the country. So if you have been living in Nigeria for, let's say, 15 years, within that period of your stay, you must not have committed a crime. You must have a very clean record in order for you to qualify for citizenship of Nigeria. Now let's move on to another qualification. So we have residence. Residence requirements mandates that applicants must have lived in the country for a certain period before applying for citizenship. So this ensures that they have integrated into society and understand its culture and laws. For naturalization in Nigeria, the applicant must have resided in Nigeria for a continuous period of at least 15 years. So this helps to ensure that they understand the culture of the people and they can really integrate into that society before they become a citizen. Now let's move on to the next one. We have acceptability. Acceptability refers to the requirement that the applicant must be deemed acceptable by the local community or government officials. The government may consult with community leaders or conduct interviews to gauge public opinion on the applicant. So the applicant must not pose a threat to public safety or national security. This means that the government of the particular state in which you are residing in and the local community must agree that you are of good standing in order for you to be accepted as a citizen into the country. Now let's move on to another one. We have making contributions towards the progress of the country. So applicants should contribute positively to the country, whether economically, socially, or culturally. In Nigeria, applicants for naturalization are expected to have made or be capable of making positive contributions to the country's development, and this can include economic investments, professional expertise, community service, or other beneficial activities. This is why, for someone who is coming to live in a new country, you must have a job or something that is doing in order to benefit the society is living in. Without that, you will not be qualified to become a citizen of that country. Now let's move on to the next one. So we have willingness to live and stay. Applicants must demonstrate a genuine intention to live in the country permanently and integrate into its society. Nigeria requires applicants for naturalization to declare their intention to reside permanently in the country. This is to ensure that new citizens are committed to Nigeria and not merely seeking citizenship for convenience or other ulterior motives. So remember that people who acquire citizenship by naturalization or marriage or registration, they have to be willing to denounce the citizenship of the other country in order for them to acquire citizenship in Nigeria. So they have to be willing to live and stay within the country. Now let's move on to another qualification. So we have marriage. Many countries offer a pathway to citizenship for spouse or citizens. Here in Nigeria, a foreign woman married to a Nigerian man can apply for citizenship by registration after meeting certain criteria, including residency and demonstrating good character. So a foreign woman can become a citizen through marriage. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, what are the ways of depriving or losing citizenship? So someone who acquires citizenship through naturalization, marriage, or registration can either be deprived of citizenship or he can lose the citizenship that he has already gotten through the following ways. So one of the ways in which you can deprive or lose citizenship is through disloyalty. Disloyalty refers to actions or behaviors that betray allegiance to the country of citizenship, such as working against national interest or undermining national security. A naturalized citizen can lose his citizenship if his activities are prejudicial to the country's corporate existence. So if you are doing anything that is against the country that you are applying to become a citizen, you may not be guaranteed citizenship into that country. You can also be deprived of citizenship or lose citizenship by supporting another country. So supporting or aligning with another country's interests or governments, especially in ways that conflict with one's home country, can lead to loss of citizenship. And this is usually common in times of war. During those wars in the 20th century, a lot of this happened. Some people who were living in another country lost their citizenship because they were supporting another country during the war. So this is another way of depriving or losing citizenship. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so we have false declaration. Providing false information or misrepresenting oneself in the process of acquiring citizenship can result in its revocation. Under the Nigerian Constitution, if an individual is found to have made false statements or misrepresentations in the application for citizenship, it can lead to loss of citizenship. So if you make false declaration or you impute false information into your application, when you're applying for citizenship of a country, you might lose that citizenship or you might be deprived of citizenship. Then we have imprisonment. A naturalized individual can lose his citizenship if within a period of 5 to 7 years after becoming naturalized, he gets involved in a criminal case, and this leads to incarceration for several years. So they give you a period of 5 to 7 years where they are watching to ensure that you continue to maintain that good behavior. So if within that period you commit a crime or you're involved in any form of crime whatsoever, you may lose your citizenship. Now let's move on to the next slide. Alright, treason is another way of depriving or losing citizenship. Treason or acts that directly threaten the sovereignty or security of a country can result in loss of citizenship. Treason is a serious offense and can lead a naturalized individual to lose his citizenship. So if you threaten the sovereignty of a country in any way, you can lose your citizenship or you can be deprived of citizenship. Then we also have dual citizenship. While many countries allow dual citizenship, some restrict it or have conditions that can lead to loss of citizenship if not adhered to. So Nigeria allows dual citizenship only for citizens by birth, but not for those who acquire citizenship by naturalization or registration. If a naturalized citizen acquires another citizenship and does not renounce it, they may lose their Nigerian citizenship. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so we also have renouncements. So formal pronouncements or declaration by a competent authority can revoke citizenship under specific circumstances. So citizenship can be revoked through formal legal processes and declarations by the authorities. So here, even a citizen by birth can choose to renounce his citizenship, but you have to do it through legal means. It is stipulated within the Constitution, and you have to have legal experts present who can guide you through the process of renouncing your citizenship. Now let's move on to the next slide. We are going to discuss the rights of a citizen. We are beginning with the concept of fundamental human rights. Fundamental human rights are basic rights and freedoms that are universally recognized as inherent to all human beings, regardless of nationality, ethnicity, religion, or any other status. So when we're talking about fundamental human rights, we're talking about the rights that are inherent in all human beings. It doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter your race, your gender, your religion, or anything. You have this right and it is basic to you. The United Nations ensures the protection and implementation of these rights through the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, or the UDHR, which was adopted in 1948. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a convention. It is a treaty that has been signed by so many nations of the world to ensure that the basic rights of individuals are protected no matter where they are in the world. So it was adopted in 1948 after the Second World War to ensure that different rights such as right to life, freedom from torture, slavery, and the rest of them are protected, so that no matter where you are in the world, you are protected by this convention, by this treaty. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, there are certain characteristics, key characteristics of fundamental human rights. We have universality. Fundamental human rights apply to all people everywhere without discrimination. So no matter where you are in the world, it applies to you, even if you are not in your country of residence. Then it is also inalienable. So these rights cannot be surrendered or taken away, as they are intrinsic to human dignity. So you can't take away the right from the person. It is intrinsic to all human beings to ensure that all human beings have dignity and respect. Then it is also indivisible. All human rights are interconnected and equally important. So one right cannot be fully enjoyed without the others. So you cannot divide these rights. All these rights, they work hand in hand. Freedom of speech works with freedom of movement and the likes. Now let's move on to the next slide. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights outlines 30 fundamental human rights and ensures that every country entrench these rights in their constitutions. And here are some of them. We have right to life, right to equality and non-discrimination, right to freedom from slavery and forced labor, right to freedom from torture, right to fair trial, right to privacy and freedom from attack on reputation, right to freedom of movement, right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, right to freedom of expression. So all of these rights, they are universal. That means they apply to everybody. They're inalienable. That means you can't separate the right from the person. And they're indivisible. That means you cannot separate one right from the other. All of them work hand in hand. So now let's move on to the next slide. Alright, so in Nigeria, fundamental human rights are entrenched in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the 1999 Constitution, as amended, includes the chapter titled Fundamental Rights, which outlines the rights and freedoms guaranteed to all individuals within the country. So the inclusion of fundamental human rights in the Constitution reflects Nigeria's commitment to upholding international standards and ensuring the protection of its citizens' basic liberty. So it's important to note that this right is guaranteed to all individuals within the country, whether you're a citizen or not. So now let's move on to the next slide so that we can see these fundamental rights entrenched in the Constitution. So these are the fundamental rights we have in the Constitution, and it applies to all human beings, whether you're a citizen or not. So we have right to life, right to peaceful assembly and association, right to dignity of human persons, right to personal liberty, right to fair hearing, right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, right to freedom of expression and the press, right to private and family life, right to freedom of movement, and rights to freedom from discrimination. So all of these rights are enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution. So these are some of the fundamental human rights enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution. So we've come to the end of this segment of the video lesson. I believe it was educative and enlightening. If you would like to continue with us, you can go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to my school website where you can subscribe for the government topic by topic video lesson. So in the full video, we're going to move on to the rights of the citizens. These are the rights that are reserved for citizens of a particular country. After that, we are going to move on to the duties and the obligations of a citizen. Then we're going to discuss the limitations of the rights of a citizen, how citizens' rights can be safeguarded, and then we're going to look at a case study of the human rights situation in Nigeria. We're going to discuss how it has evolved right from independence to the present moment, and then we're going to discuss various human rights groups. After that, we're going to look at some standardized questions that will help to refresh your knowledge on this particular topic. I hope to see you there. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.